Well, hello, all you wonderful souls, and thank you for joining us today at the Brahma Kumaris Meditation Center. We are here with 6 experienced students of the Brahma Kumaris, and today we are exploring the topic of the loss of the known and facing the unknown. And we are no doubt juggling both of these themes daily within our souls as we navigate these times of change. And so looking forward to hearing insights from our students. We have kept our process the same. We went inside in a moment of silence, and then we did some automatic writing for about 6 to 7 minutes. And so these are our fresh thoughts on this topic, the loss of the known in our lives and facing the unknown. So Judy will start us off, our center coordinator, Judy Johnson.
Thank you, Mara. When we framed the question before we went into silence, it was a lot about the confusion that people are feeling with reporting and testing, and nothing's really known, together with some of the plans that we all had that aren't happening now. And we all had ideas of what we'd be doing at this time, and we're doing something else. So there was this whole picture of a combination of confusion, like what's going on, there's mixed messaging, but also a little bit of the loss of certainty for my own life and my own plans and anything. So I guess that's the thought that I took into the silence. It was how much is unknown and not happening. We had ideas, and so there is a sense of loss. And I guess there were 3 things that came to me in that time. One of them is, when you don't know anything, go with what you do know. So that was one theme. And the other theme was, past effort always counts. And the other theme was, our goals don't change. So I just go in order. The first one, when I don't really know what's going on, the one thing I do know, I can look at myself and ask myself, well, what do I know? And in this case, I know what I want. As a meditator, I've been saying for a long time that I would like a little silence period, or I would like some time to meditate. And here I have the time, and even though I have had it, the first 3 weeks of being inside have been incredibly busy. And now I find only on week 3 am I settling into a new routine. So I'm accepting and enjoying the way that this time is refining something in me, and my focus on what I really did know and what I want is there, which is connected to the goals. My goals haven't changed. Even though the plans might have changed, my goals didn't. So I'm able to invest in my goal, only in a different form than what I had imagined. And the other one was, there's something about recognizing that any effort I have invested in a particular direction cannot be undone. I was thinking about someone from here at the center who's in high school and graduating and aiming for a high university, and all of a sudden he's not going to get those final exams, the marks that would catapult him up to the #1 student, But the thing that he does have is months and months and years of investing himself in his schoolwork. So when they look back and calculate his overall marks, he'll come out in a good position. So the spiritual lesson for me was that past effort always counts. And the lesson is, you don't wait to the last minute to make all the effort in the direction that's important to you. If you're doing it over an extended period of time, that will always count. So even though my plans may be changing now, any effort I've made towards something that's important to me is not lost. It will come about in a different way. So those are the 3 thoughts that came to me when I went into silence.
Thanks, Judy. Very practical. So many gems there. I like a 3-point punch list personally. It's very useful. Focus on what you do know. Past efforts always counts. Nothing is ever wasted. in terms of the energy that I've invested in something. And though our plans may have changed, our goals are still the same. So that's nice discernment there between goals and plans. Well thought out. Thank you, Judy. Debbie, what are your thoughts on this topic, loss of the known, facing the unknown?
Thank you, Judy. That was great. And thank you, Mara, for pulling us into this conversation. I've been thinking about, more than a year ago, I went through a very difficult organizational transition that hurt a lot of people on the staff of that organization. And whenever we would get together to talk, we would complain a bit. We'd talk about some of the behaviors we were witnessing that were harmful, mysterious, mystifying. How could anyone behave that way? And when it came to thinking about what can we do about this, each and every one of us would end the conversation with, I just don't know what to do. And it would just be exhausting, and we would stop there and leave each other. It created a lot of disempowerment, hopelessness, and a feeling of being oppressed and controlled by others. It was just really a bad situation. And at one point, after a good meditation on the situation, where I reached out to God and said, what are we supposed to do in this situation? I got the answer just to stop saying that phrase. And I decided right then and there I was never going to say that phrase again. I'm not going to say it now. You know the one I mean. And I didn't start saying, I know what to do. I didn't do any of that. But instead, I just stopped saying that one phrase to myself and to others. And my whole energy and engagement changed, and it made all the difference. And just that approach of stop saying that, whatever it is that's causing you confusion or doubt, stop saying it and stop thinking that way. Sounds a bit brusque, but it really helped change my energy. And I thought that was the most important message I could have gotten at that time. And I'm very thankful. And I'm using that now in this situation with so many unknowns. Mm-hmm. I take the messages and I use them and make the best of every situation we're in. So that's for me today, a little bit on that one.
Thanks, Debbie. Wow, I love this idea of us being more conscious of these phrases that we're using that are actually disempowering to us. So stop giving energy to phrases and thoughts that lead us to feel hopeless and helpless. And in actually just stopping doing that, another energy is possible to access. Practical and well thought out, and yeah, love this tip. Love it. Love this wisdom. Thank you so much. Leela, what are your thoughts?
Thanks, Mara. I'm going to follow up on what Judy has said, just her first opening reflection on going to the known when you feel like you're swimming in a sea of unknowns. Or, find what is in control when you have feelings of overwhelmingly being out of control. So I will just read you what I wrote today. In times like this, unprecedented times of mixed messages from the media, unknowns about the effect COVID will have on all of our future lives and the future of the entire planet, it seems a call to turn to a few knowns, a few truths that stay constant regardless of our confusing and ever-changing external world. So then, what is a truth we can hold on to when the world, both externally and even internally, seems spinning out of control day by day? We can turn to this one truth. We can turn to our innate goodness. We can take time to really be still with ourselves and come back home to our true selves. We can rest, really, truly rest, not just in the knowing, but better in the experiencing of ourselves as innate good beings. Qualities such as peace, contentment, stillness, joyfulness, generosity, and compassion all lie at the heart of each of us. If we can spend a bit of precious time each day experiencing these qualities within, then we can come back to the known, to the certainty, to the constant, never-changing self. This gives us a chance to recharge and recuperate and recalibrate. Focus, if only for a few minutes, on this known. It will act as our deep water anchor.
Thank you, Leela. There are so many gems in your sharing. What are my truths? What I think you opened with early in your sharing. And then you articulated all the many gems that are to be found in our innate goodness. Beautiful language. The stillness, the compassion, recharging, recalibrating, resting. Many, many gems of wisdom there when we focus in on our deep truths of the goodness inside of us. Thank you. David, I look forward to hearing your thoughts.
We all like to plan. I'd never say that we try to control things, although others may say that about me, but we all do like to plan and have some kind of a plan so we have a sense of what's coming next. When's our next meeting? Where we'll meet for lunch? What time we'll go to the gym? What is the most convenient time to do our grocery shopping? And all of that's been thrown up in the air during this crisis. We can't meet up for lunch, and we're not even sure what we'll find when we go out to a store and whether it will be open or not. Our plans for the future, for the summer, for what we'll do next month are all up in the air. And at the same time, the situation for many, many others in the world is even worse. Farmers in rural India, First Nations people protecting their land, people with disabilities struggling for their rights, women in urban areas in Ghana living day to day. They've struggled with planning for the future for a very long time, and the kind of situation they're currently confronted with during this time of crisis is even more overwhelming. The only thing that seems to be known is the unknown. And trying to determine how we stay calm and peaceful in the face of this is a challenging thing. How do we find time? How do we find contentment during this time of upheaval? As other people have said, I think a secret may be in controlling what we can control and not letting ourselves get frustrated by the things we can't. Just realizing in this time that there's all kinds of things we can't plan for, we don't have any control over, and letting them go. The secret may be in finding moments, and I really like the language that Leela used about choosing the truth we want to hold on to. And like Leela said, we can choose to have those moments where we choose peace, we choose contentment, we choose compassion for others, and really planning and focusing and controlling some moments during our day where we really hold on to those things. Finally, something that I find really useful is traffic control. And this is an expression we use where, you know, you set an alarm on your phone every hour or every couple hours through the day. And when that alarm goes off, you stop and you breathe and you just take a moment to focus on yourself and positivity and what you can control. And you stop all the things coming in at you from the external environment that you can't control. You can stop, you can observe the situation, and then you can steer your thoughts in a more positive way for where you want to go. And I think in those moments when we stop ourselves, there are positive energies in the cosmos. There is a connection with the Supreme, or what we feel is the guiding light in our lives. And it can help us to feel more calm, and I think overcome some of the confusion and the loss in this time where so many things are unknown. Thanks.
Thank you, David. Again, so many gems, so well articulated. It really is human nature to be planners, isn't it? It is so in our nature. And now it's planning on what we're going to choose to hold on to, what those truths are. And really stopping, taking those times to stop, and on a regular basis through the day to breathe and ground ourselves and center ourselves in ways that work for us. I think breathing is a great first place to start for sure. Thank you, David. I really enjoyed this. I'm really enjoying getting all of these fantastic tips. Carol, what are your thoughts?
Thanks, Mara. I find it very useful when a situation like our current one comes up, is to think, what have I done in the past in situations of uncertainty, and how can I take that experience with me into the present and indeed the future. It kind of reminds me a little bit of playing the role of an emergency nurse, in that an initial medical event may happen. Folks come rushing in from family and friends to determine what's happening. And the information may be limited at first, so you kind of delegate someone to deal with the crisis while the family are supported and information that is available is shared. Then over time, excuse me, over time, as more information becomes available, everyone shares it. You bring in additional resources that you may need, be they psychological supports or what have you. So in this present environment, we're starting to get a sense of the fact that it's not going to be, there aren't any fast solutions. So it does call on us to pull in those extra resources, both within ourselves and in our circle of connections or relationships. So much of that has already been discussed. We draw on our spiritual practices like meditating, getting some daily exercise, doing all of the things that bring us comfort and support, so that we can be still and a calming presence for others. I know a number of my neighbors and friends have been feeling a bit isolated. There's 2 or 3 in this building that are elderly and are living alone, and it seems just a simple thing like phoning to check and see how they're doing has been a practical way of helping them deal with the situation and the uncertainties that are contained within our current situation. So I think simple things like keeping a daily routine, maybe planning a week in advance at the most, and just kind of going with the flow as best we can without getting too far ahead of ourselves and being concerned about months ahead. I think we need to, as all have said, stay in the present moment, stay calm and stable, and control what we can, and just simply be. So that's my thoughts for the moment.
Thanks, Carol. I like this metaphor that you used, about your experience as an emergency nurse, because I think it fits so beautifully in this, in the times that we're in. It's exactly the same as it is for us now, this metaphor of not knowing and little bits of information coming a little bits at a time. And then this question, which is a great coaching question. What have I done in the past that has worked for me? What an empowering question. And if I don't know what I can do, then at the very least, figure out how to be a calming presence for yourself and for others. Make that your goal. And what do I need to do that? Great tips here today. Thank you so much. Is it my turn already? Oh, it is. Okay. I was, I'll just read what I wrote. It's not very, they're just random thoughts. What occurred to me about not knowing was this idea of feeling like a child, like a little kid who's 5 or 6, who's going to school, and really when we're little, we don't really have much sense of the world, and we don't really know how it works, and we have so much to learn, and we could really feel a little bit, we could really sort of lean into the innocence of not knowing like a child, and embracing that innocence with some faith, rather than going to this response of needing to control everything and be fearful. It's sort of like, wow, I don't know. What's it like not to know? And I think not knowing can really soften us up, because we can become open to what may come. And if I do know that whatever happens, I'll be okay. Like David was talking about people in other parts of the world that are in much more worse shape than we are, in terms of they can't even plan where their next meal is coming from, for example. So if I know that I'll be okay and be able to handle whatever life delivers, then I can relax a little bit into this not knowing, because, I'll know when I know. And there have been times in my life, and I'm sure for many of you, where you just didn't know what to do next. You were between careers, or you were between relationships, or you didn't know what you wanted to take at school. You just didn't know, and there was no clarity coming. But over time, I've learned that I will know when I know, and I can trust the spaces in between. And until then, for me, it's chop wood, carry water, live simply day to day, focus on what I do know to be true, but really making my life simple and trustable right now, and focusing in on the practice of gratitude. And like many of you, I've had a little bit more time now, starting this week, to have a little bit more space for that silence, and the traffic control is a good reminder. Thank you, David, to set that up. I'm going to set that up and just take that time to breathe and go in. And part of not knowing and going in is that sometimes we do feel the grief of the loss. We feel some grief, and we want to feel those feelings fully and allow them, because as we do allow them, we experience the gratitude on the other side of that. So I always think about grief as G squared. Grief and gratitude always follows. And certainly feeling grateful, it feels very empowering for us. So those are my thoughts, which I think are kind of very much on the same themes as you have all shared today. Thank you once again, everyone, for being willing to, over Zoom, share our thoughts and ideas for this podcast on the loss of the known and fearing the unknown. And we look forward to speaking to you next time that happens. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Bye-bye.